Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best, you gotta show me son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
First in the building, Shaw News, the Sauce Experience, aka Showtime Shaw on deck. You already know what's good with it. Top of the morning. Yes, sir. We are back on the boulevard. Top of the morning. WCS in the chat. Hot grease. Yes, sir. We're trying to find out some answers. That's all. We're trying to get the answers. Even though they don't want to hear the truth, we need answers. You know what I'm saying? We need answers. What are your sources telling you? Or did you reach out to the sources? Well, of course, due to what I've been able to witness, and I know you touched on this earlier, there, Shaw News, I have to go with my sources. I don't know who those sources is at the time, but it sounds good. You know what I'm saying? It sounds good. So I'm going to go with my sources. I can't disclose my sources, but when I say my sources, being that I'm taking ownership, it sounds great to me, especially to kick off the week. Look, what better thing to do than to get on here and talk to the listeners, the supporters, the hottest chat in the MFing game, A-side, 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 A-side official. You already know, man. I just feel like when it's Monday, the day after Sunday, that's the best time to lie. So why not say my sources? My sources tells me, you know what I'm saying, that Errol Spence has very limited COA. He has a very, very limited COA, course of action. What course of action is Errol Spence, the 2081 former unified welterweight champion, black male, you know what I'm saying, mid haircut, stands about 5, I say about 5'9", you know what I'm saying, arm reach about 71, some to that extent. I don't have to be accurate, you know what I'm saying. Currently residing in DeSoto, Texas, under the tutelage of Joanne Guzman. I forgot the other guy's name. I just want to put him over there with Mel Charlo for now. I don't want to ruin the Monday by putting him over there with that superstar, that stage dancer. I want to put him over there with Guzman for better light, better insight, and everything is going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to put him over there with Joanne Guzman for the day. Carlos Rosado in the building. What's good with it, Carlos? First in the building. Shout out to WCS. Yes, sir, indeed, man. Salute to you for pulling up, brother. Yes, sir. You know what it is, Shaw News. My sources. You know, it's always good to just grab your sources by the collar on a Monday and say, here, walk with me, and treat them, you know what I'm saying, like they just can be used and abused whenever it feel like it. But that seems to be a trend here. We can never forget that T word, trending. That's always trending on the YTC, sources. AU is on deck. What's good with it, bro? Cook your fried fish, buttered grits, and cheesy eggs this morning. What? With a tall glass of OJ, man. Come on. You forgot the shrimp? Shrimp and fish and grits? Yeah, we got to do all that. Yes, sir. But I'll take that. I'll take that right there. You know what I'm saying? Down here in the South, we eat breakfast in the morning. You know, we can eat that shit at afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Brunch, evening. Shit, it's always a good dish, bro. You know what I'm saying? Thinkers think what's good. Salute to your brother in the building. Only COA arrow has to get beat again. So let's talk about what is eluding people at this point in time. Okay, I see a lot of channels talking about, what decision Terrence Crawford is actually going to make in this case. And that deals a lot with the future fight date that should be implemented from the rematch clause from July 29th. July 30th pretty much set it in motion that Errol Spence had only so many days to selectively choose what he wanted to do. Shy away and go in the opposite direction, or sustain and have a rematch with Terrence Crawford. Based off what we witnessed, right? There's been a lot of skepticism. You heard it, I heard it, I read it, you read it. Okay. So there's been a lot of skepticism on if he should. So we all understand that just because we sit back and we observe, we're really not at the negotiation table. We're not there on the team, talking to our sources and trying to influence the next decision. But there's been many people saying that Errol Spence really should chill with this rematch. And I'm saying I'm totally against him chilling. I think he should really take the rematch for my own selfish reasons. Now, we're not here to judge one another. I'm just saying I'm speaking genuinely. I would like for Errol Spence to freaking take this rematch. Okay, if he chooses to take this rematch, there are some stipulations. All right. Terrence Crawford made it perfectly clear, as myself and many others have mentioned. I made it perfectly clear that Terrence Crawford totally understands he's in the driver's seat. He's the one that's calling the shots. As word is broken, it seems like Crawford, Steven Nelson, his team, and a lot of other people over there are not giving a damn about having this fight at 154, because there's certain people out here that's trying to all of a sudden dictate and instruct. You know what I'm saying? Dictate and instruct Terrence Crawford on what to do. We're talking about people who wasn't there to cheer him on to victory anyway, but they want to direct him for whence he should go. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not going to happen, because somebody done pissed Crawford off even more, to the fact where he's saying, I am the current reigning defending. And I think when it comes down to the principle of it all, you know what I'm saying, the principle of this decision, I think Terrence Crawford should absolutely take this fight at 147 pounds. Because if he has a rematch outside of that weight limit, it's pointless, bro. Don't you get tired of the blatherskite? Have y'all ever heard of that word? It's just so unique. Blatherskite. You know what I'm saying? Have y'all ever heard of the word blatherskite? It's a lot of blatherskite that's going on, right? Blatherskite is a person who talks at great length without making much sense. We have a lot of blatherskite going on with this particular topic, because they're trying to basically eliminate. They're trying to what they call blackball, ostracize, banish. You know what I'm saying? They're trying their best to believe that they have the right to continue to speak on certain topics dealing with Crawford, like it's gonna sway him to lose focus and just give up and quit. No, he's making the choices. Why wouldn't he take the fight at 147? Why wouldn't he? It's only smart for him to do that. He's the current reigning defending. But when I look at the 147-pound rankings, though, you know what I'm saying? I have found out that Errol Spence is nowhere to be found when it comes to the 147-pound rankings. All right. And it's not like I was looking for Errol Spence to be in the rankings. It's just when I'm doing like research and I'm paying attention to detail, you know what I'm saying? I'm being assiduous. So I am looking at this ranking system after the fight, of course, after the fight. And therefore, I am seeing from the WBC, Terrence Crawford, WBA, Terrence Crawford, IBF, Terrence Crawford, and the WBO, Terrence Crawford. I see all four sanction bodies recognizing Terrence Crawford as the champion, as the undisputed champion across four sanctioning bodies. Now, it doesn't take a child that has been deemed a prodigy, you know what I'm saying, a genius. It doesn't take a child at a young age. It doesn't take an adult that has been deemed a savant in life to figure this shit out. This is simple shit. Terrence Crawford is across the board the man with the plan. He is the undisputed world champion. Why wouldn't us as boxing fans want him to defend his titles at 147? Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we want him to defend his titles at 147? This is plain cut and dry right here. He is ranked in the 147-pound welterweight division as an undisputed titleist. Why do we have so-called boxing enthusiasts and content creators out here encouraging a fight at 154 just because they're desperately trying to see if the results can be different? Am I right or wrong, people? They're trying to see if the results can be different. You're trying to see if the results are going to be different for your own freaking benefit, not for the benefit of Earl, but for the benefit of yourself. What happened to the energy that y'all had when Errol was the unified champion not too long ago? He was the unified champion, man. Y'all can look, y'all continue to speak on it. He has done more. He has done more. He's the better welterweight. Who has the better resume? B-E-T-T-R, better. You said he was better. He had done more than Terrence. He had accomplished more than Terrence. His whole entire resume was better. Man, look, if you have somebody that has did so much, to include Keith Thurman, you have someone, a fighter that has done so much of the division to get to a point where it's finally time for him to shut up all the doubters, right? And then you have the popularity vote on the other side that's praising the shit out of him, so much to the fact that he's believing everything they're talking about. It's time for him to finally get the last stone. You know what I'm saying? It's finally time for him to cross that bridge and pay the toll, because he's been taking the easy route the whole time. Now he got to cross the bridge and attempt to pick up that last strap, and he fails at doing it. It's not the fact that the bridge burned down. It's the fact that the shit was on fire before he even went over there to goddamn try to get that belt. It was on fire. It was smoking already, goddamn it. You know what I'm saying? It was already smoking. Because, people was up here believing the hype with Errol Spence. I'm looking at the ranking system, and I'm seeing only one man. I don't see Errol Spence in the rankings at the welterweight division. Did they jump the gun when he lost those titles? Did they jump the gun and automatically want to catapult him up to the next division? Did they jump the gun and put Errol Spence up here in the WBC ranked number 3? Did they jump the gun with that? Because he is still 147 pounds on July 29th. You know what I'm saying? He was still a welterweight, an active welterweight on July 29th. He was an active unified champion on July 29th. Now, by the evening close of July 29th, that has since changed. We all seen that play out and the reason why it played out the way it did. But they quickly attempted to remove Errol Spence from the welterweight division to somewhat placate Errol Spence's talks and maybe probably what Crawford had mentioned. Crawford did mention that at one point in time that, hey, you know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't I take the fight at 154? But of course, what they say, documentation beats conversation. We haven't seen the documentation yet. The documentation for Crawford to make the decision to fight at 47-54, that's documented. That's a fact. He has a choice. It's documented. It's in the contract. Good business. Because, hey, everybody in the chat, you remember what they were saying, right? This man moving funny. Let me get back to the chat, man. Shaw News say, W says you're not right. You want him to get beat up again. You know, that's the only way for them to be convinced there, Shaw News. You know what I'm saying? Shouldn't we encourage equality? Don't you consider that to be equality? We should encourage equality. Equality is returning back to a division that pretty much altered your entire boxing career. Return back there, because I remember this one thing. Everybody in the chat, I remember this, Shaw News. I remember that Errol Spence said that he been getting out of pocket his whole life. I remember him saying that. He been getting out of pocket his whole life. So that tells me that you like being in a state of confusion and chaos and mayhem, right? So it will mean nothing more for you to understand the chaos and mayhem that you have to revisit by cutting weight and going back down to 147. Because you was just a welterweight July 29th. This is 2023. So since you like getting out of pocket, get out of pocket again and jump in there and then knock that weight off. Stop going to the table acting like you have 10 forks in front of you. You only need one. You don't need to eat off every fork. Have some discipline. You know what I'm saying? Have some discipline. You say you like getting out of pocket. So for me and many others, we would like to see you return back to 147 pounds to prove to your people. And this is something I haven't even been mentioning in my last several lives. Make sure that you switch out with the real Errol Spence this time. You know what I'm saying? I know he's been rested up, and I think that would be a fair shot at Crawford if we can now bring in the real Errol Spence and get rid of the clone. Because the real Errol Spence, they say he wasn't there in attendance July 29th. So we need him to return back. He's rested up, and he should be on weight. You feel me? He should be on weight, within the weight rim. You know, the range. He should be close. You know what I'm saying? Within the 50s or something like that. Because he had plenty of time to get his shit down. I'm pretty sure when he was in that lab, they was doing that liposuction and everything else to get those extra fat cells out. So I'm guessing that's a fair assessment, bro. Samad Warren, what's good? Peace and blessings, beloved. Salute WCS. Certified, stamp the like button and support the grind. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One love to you, brother. Big Blunts and Boxing, the GOAT is in the building. Good morning to you, Blunts. What's good? Salute to you, family. Smart business move by Crawford. Yes, everything has to be considered smart because, Blunts, we understand that they said this man was negotiating in bad faith. Everything was bad when it came to Crawford. Everything, dog. He was moving funny. I ain't never seen a bunch of grown black men sit up here and tell me, oh, he moving funny. He moving funny right there. I don't like that shit. I'm gonna have to drop the dime on that nigga. That nigga, he moving funny. Where you coming down? Why you coming over here talking that shit for? What are you talking about a rematch at 147? I don't like that shit. They talking about goddamn Crawford was negotiating in bad faith. He was moving funny, negotiating in bad faith. You know what I'm saying? Which one is? And then I tried to tell them blunts. I tried to tell them niggas. I said, you continue to run your mouth and put that slave shit up in there. You're dealing with a human being. Ain't nobody talking about Crawford being a clone. You're dealing with a human being that's looking at people and they're thinking they're putting their finger on Crawford's forehead, right? And it's a bully, it's a sense of bullying going on here to compare that man to a slave. Now, I don't know why they picture Crawford as being a slave, but you have to think about him being a human being, one who compete in a full contact sport at the highest level. You have to ask yourself, what do you think his mentality is going to be? His mentality is going to be like, fuck y'all. Why would you put me as Kunta Kinte? I look nothing like LeVar Burton. What's wrong with you? Why would you put me in that category as a slave? What have I done to you to say that I'm as top ranked Toby? I'm Kunta Kinte. Do you believe a person that's in the era of social media don't read social media? Obviously, that's not the case. Obviously, we understand that these fighters today, they pay attention to social media, right? So when it comes down to him being called a slave, a depicted slave, a story that was based off, roots, played by the very intelligent LeVar Burton, they are finding out that Crawford is more so LeVar Burton than actually Toby. You know what I'm saying? You're more so willing to go off the screenplay, the name that he uses as an actor within Roots, but yet he's showing you all, I'm LeVar Burton. I'm an extremely intelligent black man, and my decisions will affect you all in that manner. They busy trying to think the man Toby. That's the stupidity of it all. They really ain't paying attention to LeVar Burton, who played Toby. They just paying attention to Toby because it rings out more for them to pretty much say, you know what, I can make fun of this nigga anytime I want. I'm gonna compare him to Kunta. I'm gonna compare him to Toby. You all are going off a screenplay, but in real life, LeVar Burton is a very intelligent black man. You know what I'm saying? Who never was a slave. So I just thought I should break that down to y'all because you're not really thinking about it in that manner. You know what I'm saying? You're not trying to formalize or do your own investigation before you go up here and speak out to the public. These fighters, they pay attention to social media. Back to what I was saying. PM on deck. Salute WCS. Show these aerosexuals no mercy. Now they talking about fairness. Oh, we're gonna talk about fairness. That's the whole thing of me mentioning this freaking mentioning this ranking system right here. Because fairness is patience, first of all. Processing. Let's process some shit. They move Errol Spence up to 154 pounds in haste, impulsively. Why? This man just recently fought at 147. You have to wait on Crawford to make the decision. Why move this guy up in the ranking system? You're doing him and then you have people out here, per their sources, they're up here trying to insinuate what's next for Errol Spence. They're trying to say it's Charles Conwell. Well, guess what? Let me explain something to you. I spoke to Charles Conwell on the phone last couple of days. I did. He just had a baby girl. Congratulations, Charles Conwell. Bad news. You know what I'm saying? Abreu was his last victim. He went in there and got that victory. Charles Conwell is a tough fighter. You know what I'm saying? And he's sitting number one in the WBC. And people was attempting to say that Errol Spence's next fight would be Charles Conwell. That's a tough fight, bro. That's a tough fight for Spence. You know what I'm saying? And definitely Charles, man, will welcome that. And I asked him, was that any consideration? And he didn't lead me to think that was something that was going on right now, even though they're in the works and trying to make big fights happen. Yes, sir. They're trying to make big fights happen. But he did not confirm to me at all that Errol Spence was his next opponent. Seriously. Now, I do want them to keep their same energy about these tune-ups. Errol Spence said he can return back from the accident with no tune-ups. I don't want you all coming up here talking about Errol Spence should move up and take a tune-up, because that just doesn't make any sense to me for somebody who said he don't believe in tune-ups. Y'all shouldn't go up here and push that narrative, because y'all pushing a whole lot of narratives this time. Let's talk about after I get to let's talk about what they mean by equality. These niggas continue to talk about, oh, it needs to be fair now. No, y'all haven't been fair. So when you continue to describe a man as a slave, that means you're looking at them in a sense of an inferiority. You're looking at them like they're beneath you. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at them like you're bullying them and saying, yeah, we used to you doing all our hard labor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we look at you as somebody who would never be anything in life. Someone who loves to get beat on. Someone who's used to being told what to do. That's where they was at with it, y'all. They loved calling this man Top Rank Toby, saying he was on the plantation. But me and Shaw News will tell you that, God damn it, when we go to Top Rank, that shit is smooth. Some of the best media that you can get is at Top Rank. Though that is only for people who's been approved for credentials. Of course, we're not talking about sitting in the stands. And when we were in the stands, we was working. You know what I'm saying? So we came down from the rafter, so to speak, and we paraglided down to the floor next to the ring. And I looked on the gate and it said the corral. You know what I'm saying? Just to let you know. Big Blunts and Boxing said if Spence walks, then it frees up Crawford to pursue his next step. It frees up Crawford to pursue his next step. If Spence take the 147 limit, it will be a repeat and perhaps easier work. Win-win. Hey, you're making sense, man. You're making sense about scenario-based situations that can play out that benefits not only the fighters, but us as fans too. Because we would be curious to see if Canelo's going to take that Crawford fight, if Spence choose to abort mission. But then again, like myself, I would definitely welcome Spence back to the ring at 147 pounds, because that's what he is. He's a 147 pounder. He's 100 majority of his career. 98% of Spence's career has been campaigning around that 147 pounds. So why leave now? Because you love getting out of pocket. So if you love getting out of pocket, jump out of pocket again and lose that weight. You just did it, man. A month and a half ago, bro. You just did it. Did he not, people? Did he not? No, they ain't read The Art of War, man. These individuals, they'll get on here and just do thumbnail after thumbnail. And long as it has Crawford name in it, you know, and they want to go ahead and talk about what he should do now that he's earned the belts. And these same individuals were supporting this man prior to him achieving that. You know what I'm saying? So you think if you was dogging the man out before this, all of a sudden the information you putting out of talking about fairness is going to play a significant role and really really influencing Crawford to say, you know what, I should really think about this. Two wrongs don't make a right. Listen, hey, they up here thinking Crawford gonna be like, hey, you know what? Hey, Stephen, I was thinking, man, two wrongs don't make a right, man. I'm busy up here listening to social media too much, man. Two wrongs don't make a right. At the end of the day, I should at least, you know, because he did give me the concessions I wanted and everything like that. And, you know, the coin flip and everything worked out to my benefit. It was a God's moment. You know what I'm saying? That was God tier that night on the 29th. I got everything I wished for. You know what I'm saying? I got the coin flip. I walked out second, introduced first. I got the victory. encompassing, encapsulating that with knockdowns. I mean, the performance value was through the roof at 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Faces, very known faces, celebrities in attendance. Everything worked out in my favor. Godsend, 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 right? Why shouldn't I just give him what he wants? You know what I'm saying? Why? He wants 54. That's what he wants. They believe what they saying out here on social media, all the negative shit they've been saying about this man over and over and over and over again. Now he's playing hardball. You know what I'm saying? He's giving it back. He was pretty much trying to make them believe that he was going to appease all the negative shit they've been saying, man. He's just been cataloging that shit for months upon months upon months. How they were saying that Crawford was ducking. And oh my God, the shit they criticized him for taking the Avanesian fight, the BOK Prime situation. Man, this man could do no wrong. And I knew when he was looking at social media, he probably thought to himself, damn, them some hating ass niggas, boy. I swear to God, them some hating ass niggas. You never want to you never want to have an intelligent man sitting back plotting. You never want that to happen. You know what I'm saying? You got somebody back here that's a very smart, strategic, methodical type fighter. You never want him to plot. And that's exactly what we're seeing with Crawford. He won the freaking fight. Now, those supporters of Errol Spence want him to take a weight class higher because they believe, someone believe, that the fight will play out much different. But when you look at the documentation says that Crawford has the right, as the winner, to select which division. If that division is 147 pounds, but guess what? You shouldn't be here bitching and complaining because that's where he holds the belts. Why would Crawford need to move up to 154 pounds just because they got Errol Spence ranked number 3 at the WBC? It don't make no fucking sense. He don't need to move up to no 154 pounds. That's not where he's holding the belts. When you talk about fairness, you need to understand you have to be fair to yourself first. I know a lot of you niggas don't love yourself, but I'm breaking some shit down for you, right? You all didn't give a damn about Errol Spence facing Keith Thurman at 154 pounds. You didn't give a damn about that shit because in order for him to be welterweight undisputed, he had to fight where? At 147 pounds. When that news broke about Errol Spence fighting Keith Thurman and the audio leaked about Errol Spence not wanting to fight Keith Thurman, that whole shit was hot garbage. Y'all didn't want to see that fight because it didn't include the titles. Y'all wanted to see a fight that included the championships. You didn't want to see it. So what's the difference now? Come on, aerosexuals, you snotty boys. Come on, let's be fair with one another first before we start talking about what fighters should be fair about. Don't you want to see Errol Spence go back to 147 and attempt to get the belts to solidify him as a welterweight undisputed champion? Don't you want to see that? Come on, man. Be stronger than what you are. You're looking weak right now. Don't you want to see this man return back to the square to regain his unified titles and plus one? Don't you want to see him do that? Don't you want to see him get out of pocket? Come on, man. Let's get the same energy. Y'all seem to fizzle a little bit. We need that energy that was going on at the presser when Team Spence had members of whoever over there talking all that shit, and they was distracting Crawford from talking to his people. He had to address them. He said, "You're doing too much. Hey, man, why do we as black people have to come up here and just always be about the rah, rah, rah?" He was on some goddamn solace, bro. You know what I'm saying? He was on some peacekeeping mission type shit. He was there to keep the peace and show respect on fight week. But nah, people weren't trying to hear that. So now he had to revert over to what he knew and where he was up to this point when he was coming up. You know, he had to go back to get active. And I'm telling you all, Why don't you want Errol Spence to respect that he agreed to the doc? Look, he agreed to the documentation. The documentation at one point in time allowed him or Crawford, whoever was deemed the winner, to make these choices. So if Errol Spence would have became welterweight undisputed, he would have been able to make the choice, right, on where the fight was going to be. So if Crawford would have lost, Errol Spence said, I want the fight at 54. It would have been nothing Crawford could do. He could have accepted the fight at 54 or he could have stayed at 47. At this point in time, life in itself would have been a lot different, y'all. Ooh, it would have been a lot different, dog. But we know that ain't the case, goddammit. We know that ain't the case, man. They say these content creators still didn't get the neon light memo signed that states, don't make Bud angry. You won't like him when he's angry. They did this before, and the T-Mobile massacre happened as a result. Why does it take you to bring that up, man? Look, Samar, can't they just figure this shit out on their own? Can't they just figure it out on their own? Bud say we get active. They don't think that deals with the Hulk. They don't piss that Omaha Hulk off, man. I said leave David Crawford alone. Dude, his eyes don't have to turn green before you realize some shit going on, goddammit. I'm trying to tell these people. They need to get it in their head, bro, that Errol Spence is not making the decisions. Why wouldn't you want that man to go back to the 147 pound where y'all celebrated? Y'all sit up here and praise this man. Y'all had this man, goddamn, hearing y'all clap all the time. Y'all was giving him all the hype. He could do no wrong. I mean, debate after debate after debate after debate. Knockdown 68 iPad had debates after debates after debates of Crawford Spence. And you know what? None of the bullshit that was going on over there meant anything. Came July 29th because he got his ass beat. I haven't heard any of the debate series come back. What happened? Was there an eviction notice placed on that? What happened? I thought that was something to grow off of, brother. Why? Where's the debate series? Why don't you open up the debate series, right? Being that we get into the holiday season, and let's talk about who has the better resume and why when it comes to Bud Crawford. Or better yet, no, let's not talk about resumes. Let's the first debate be: should Errol Spence fight at 47 or 54? That's what it should be. Should he fight at 147 pounds or 154 pounds? That's should the debate. Should he or shouldn't he? That should be what the debate is about. Bud did what Uncle would say. After further review, we fighting at 147. Hey, that's only right for him to freaking do that, man. He has the power. He has the authority. He won that slot fair and square. If they want to talk about fairness, he won that shit fair and square July 29th. So what's the problem? What's the problem? They talk about documentation beats conversation. Well, the documentation says whoever won has the option to fight either 47 or 54. What's the problem? What's the problem? Just because now you want to hold Bud to the word? No, you never wanted to hold that man to anything. Now all of a sudden you're trying to hold him to what he said, like it's in stone or something. Like he goddamn docu-signed that shit online. He signed that motherfucker online and shit and said, hey, yeah, we're fighting 154. No, nothing's been signed. Nothing's in stone, bro. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. They didn't want him to keep going back to Bob Arum back then. That's why they call him a slave. They wanted him to have a black master in Al Heyman. Man. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. I said it, man. You know what I'm saying? Blunts, they wanted that man to go down and lay on the front step. They just wanted that man to kowtow, put his head on the pavement, and allow himself to be walking, stepped over, spit on, like he was nothing, like he had to goddamn prove his worthiness as a black man in society. No, no. You should take your ass, you being Errol Spence, back down to 47 because you never left. You never left. You balloon up in weight because of your own doing. It's self-inflicted, and you should get out of pocket and get back in there and drop that weight. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tony Banks. Spence want the payday, not the fight. I get it. True words, man. But in order for him to get that payday, bro, he needs to get out of pocket. We remember him saying, I've been getting out of pocket my whole life. Now, if you want to get out of pocket and drop that weight. Get your mind back pissed off that Crawford is fighting, wants to fight at 147, and you got to make a choice. You know you're going to make a pretty hefty bag fighting Crawford in the rematch. Why don't you just assume the role once again of the bad guy and get out of pocket and get the weight off, bro? That's all you have to do, man. That's all you have to do. Shout out to Bruce Gas Boxing. Jazz and more, the OG on deck. What's good with it, Bruce? That's all you have to do, man. That's all you have to do. Rashid say Roots first aired in 1977. Spence was born in 1990. Hey, you kicking some knowledge. You bringing up some facts. You know what I'm saying? You bringing up some facts, bro. You know what I'm saying? But my whole point in how they was using it was not so much the fact of when it aired, because they wasn't going to research that shit like that. All they wanted to do is take a defining moment from that movie, which basically pitted these plantation owners trying to force conformity out of LeVar Burton, who played the role in his younger days of Toby. You know what I'm saying? They was trying to force that man through punishment to break him down. And that's what black men of this modern era uses to attempt to basically berate Terrence Crawford and depict him as a slave that don't know any better. I mean, if they would have thought about it in the way that I just said, that, you know, hey, he's a smart guy. LeVar Burton was very intelligent. And if they would have looked at it that way, I would have respected them more. But they wanted to just take the rawest part of Roots and walk with it. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to damn, sit up here and make fun of him being over the top rank as if that was some type of plantation. But now you want to come back and kick knowledge? Hey, when I was growing up, that was one thing. Oh, you want to kick knowledge now, huh? Oh, you want to kick knowledge. I get it. Bud is doing what Broderick did to Joe, Braddock did to Joe Lewis. These aerosexuals reaching. You know, when it comes to here, they can say what they want, man. He was one of the main, varmints who was up here, continuing to criticize and ridicule Bud Crawford's every move leading up to the fight. You know what I'm saying? He was up there, trying to talk that nonsense and persuade people that per the unqualified assessment, no retainer quiet, because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. He was trying to make it seem like from a legal standpoint, this, and this. No, nobody ain't trying to hear that shit, bro. Nobody ain't trying to talk about what happened back then to Joe Lewis. What we need to understand is that if you go back to the Devin Haney and Teofimo situation, there was a lot of verbal agreements made when they was going back and forth on social media. There was a lot of verbal agreements made. Did that make a difference? Did that have Teo fight Devin? No, it didn't have Teo fight Devin. He fought George Kambosos. You know what I'm saying? We had a lot of verbal agreements happen and handshakes. And people's like, oh my God, they shook on it. And nothing happened. What's the difference with this? Nothing, bro. Shout out to Aaron Camet. What's on deck? What's good with it, Cam? Dev said, "What up? What's good with you on deck?" Same aerosexuals call him a slave, not want him to be fair. Now want him to be fair. Yes, sir. I don't know where they found out that works that way. You know what I'm saying? How does that work? You know what I'm saying? You pile on the criticism, and then you want somebody to climb themselves out of the pile of shit you just dumped on their head. And then you say, are you okay? Have you learned yet? Have you learned your lesson? And then got no, he haven't learned his lesson, dump some more shit. The way it works, man. Not to somebody who's fairly intelligent, you know what I'm saying, in this boxing game and as a human being, that's crazy. Randy on deck, what's good? I see you in the building. How can Spence take Crawford's homage? How can Spence take Crawford's homage sincere when he's not honoring the only real fighter? I don't get where you're coming from with that. Cam says it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when Bud do it. Fuck them. Yeah, it seems to be that way. Real talk. I don't think, it's always been a problem. It seems like, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at how quickly they try to, put Errol Spence up at the rankings. Why would you do that? Why would you remove Errol Spence from welterweight? You know what I'm saying? Put him back down there and show the people what it looks like when Crawford is from left to right. You know what I'm saying? Show the people. Don't sit up here and scurry off, and put Errol Spence in 154 without us really understanding what's the next move. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to NO on deck, man. I see you. Arnold Brown on deck. What's good? You in the hottest chat in the MF and game. A-side official. You know it, man. Appreciate you pulling up, bro. Carlos said it doesn't matter what weight they fight at. Bud is going to make sure Errol stays in line again. Hey, man. Errol say he's been getting out of pocket his whole life. Now that he's been in there with Bud, all he has to do is figure out what improvements he need to make to come back in there and get the win. That's all he need to do. Now, that seems like an impossible task on how easily that massacre was carried out. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think from here to December is enough time for these snotty boys to get themselves together mentally to return to the scene of the crime. And for real, I really think they should up security. They should have a bit more of some therapists and some triage, centers on deck with some therapists, some psychiatrists, and people like that that really taps into the neurological headquarters. You know what I'm saying? And be able to give them some type of placebo. You know what I'm saying? To make it seem like they're getting something to prepare them to venture into this fight week once again. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's enough time in between, but July 29th, and if they fight in December, because they need to hurry up and get it together. I'm talking about they being Team Spence. They need to find out that, hey, if Crawford's standing on his 10, that he's going to fight at 147, well, let's make the fight official. And you have to jump out of pocket there, Spence, and make this weight. Shout out to Jay Beasy in the building. What's good? Spence trying to get that extra punch resistance at 154, his path to victory. This is I'm going to put it in this. I'm gonna phrase it like this, right? Or I'm gonna provide an example. From the outside looking in, we can't be so quick to run with the narratives without the freaking studies, without the documentations, and people running with punch resistance. If this is something that hasn't really been the topic of discussion previously from other fights that we had, you know what I'm saying? Other fights that we've been a part of, nobody was using this punch resistance shit. We had fighters making weight, Nobody was talking about punch resistance, especially when Shakur Stevenson missed weight. Nobody was talking about punch resistance. He was sucked in. Shakur Stevenson was sucked all the way in, man, dried on the motherfucker, man, looking miserable as hell. Why wasn't anybody talking about punch resistance with him? Obviously, he was past that weight. He missed weight, dropped the belts on the scales. Why wasn't anybody talking about punch resistance with Shakur Stevenson? You know what I'm saying? They said that Crawford had missed weight prior to weighing in. What was up? Why didn't Crawford have punch resistance issues? Why won't they bring this information up? They said Crawford missed weight. I remember Blue reporting that Crawford missed weight too. Several channels was freaking talking about it. So if Crawford missed weight previously to making his final weight, didn't he have punch resistant issues too? Because the last time I checked, they say Crawford was chinny. Because we've heard a million times, yeah, we heard a million times on how Gamboa landed that infamous shot that wobbled Crawford. They talk about Igis Kavalauskas on how he hurt Crawford. So let's just talk about the chinniness, man. You know what I'm saying? He was chinny. Don't that deal with punch resistance? How can you be chinny but yet display punch resistance? Huh? How can you be chinny? Wouldn't that bleed over into you dropping weight, struggling to make weight, and you already being chinny, and you have to go in there and go in there against somebody with the best power jab in the game? The best. They said the man had the best power jab in the game, bro. Jesus Christ, man. If they wanted to rematch at 154, their fighter should have won. Facts, bro. Put that back up. That's facts, man. That's facts. The fighter should have won. They should have came up with a game plan. But Diddy James is over there. You got to move around, take that, move around, take that. You got to make them feel you, take that, make them feel you, take that, move around, take that, move around, take that. That's what Diddy James was saying. He was saying, you got to step around, yeah. You got to make them feel you, step around, make them feel you, step around. When that wasn't working, then what's next, bro? It doesn't matter what weight they fight at. Bud is going to make sure Errol stays in line again. He needs to do that, man. Listen, Carlos, he needs to understand that Bud is going to come in there even more pissed off than he was the first time. Because now that he has a gauge on how weak Errol Spence is comparable to the strength that he possesses, you know what I'm saying? And this is like whatever strength he possessed growing up, because he said he always had to be the, proving himself, and people always underestimated him. So you got somebody with a different mindset that even went into that fight July 29th, because people was once again treating him as the underdog and believing that he couldn't get it done. So when he took that mentality in the ring and beat him so easily, once again, someone mentioned the art of war. They're absolutely ignoring just straight up facts on how you approach the art of war. They're ignoring how pugilist thinks, in this situation. They're ignoring the shit out of it, bro. You know what I'm saying? These content creators are just ignoring it because they're not really part of the team. They're not in there helping out with Spence. They're not going on the run with him. None of that. They're ignoring him. They're ignoring all those principles that Crawford is taking in the ring and why he looked so good going in there against Errol Spence. They're ignoring this shit. And that would be their downfall in the rematch. Just think about it. They're going to continue to talk more and more shit. Okay, let's just say it's made official, right? Let's just say this is made official. The fight's going to be at 147. So the creators is going to go up here and continue to talk shit. Like they're going to continue to pile it on, talk shit, right? But yet they're ignoring, once again, they're throwing away the fact that they did the same thing before July 29th. And they choose to do the same thing leading up to this next fight. It's not going to work out good for you, bro. It's not going to work out good. It's not. So you know how this chat in the MF and Gang A-Side official. Appreciate you there, Arnold. Appreciate you, NO, in the building. So basically, should Arrow go back to where it all began for him in the first place? I mean, look, why did he even abandon 154 previously? He was obviously trying to figure out where he wanted to contend. And the fact that he had, his several fights initially in the inception of his professional debut to come over here at a higher weight and then decide with Alejandro Barrera to now settle in the welterweight division at that weight class and consistently fight at 147 pounds. I mean, truth be told, he had plenty of time to get it together. He was fluctuating up and down, up and down, up and down. And then he finally decided, okay, now I'm going to stay consistent and fight as a welterweight. And within that division, he was able to amass 3 belts. But like I said before, the easy route ruined the shit out of that man. It stressed him out so much knowing he had that last belt to get on the back end. And this is the part when you're talking about negotiations, usually the back end is pretty damn decent, unless you're talking about net. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're talking about the net. But the fucked up part about this, the back end that he had to go see Crawford, that was the gross. That was the gross right there. He was dealing with the gross aspect of it. He had to go get everything. This depended on everything. Everything was encompassing to that last belt, the WBO title. All the side of the street, everything was focused and dependent on him picking up the last belt. Now that you didn't get it done, you have these individuals that wasn't even talking about you prior to. They want you to go to 54 to appease themselves. But Crawford's like, no, I can make 147 again. I'm the champion in 147. I want to be able to defend my undisputed titles. Maybe Crawford's mindset is, I didn't have a chance to do that at 140, but I'm going to do it at 147. I want to be able to defend my titles. Maybe that's his mindset, man. He wanted to defend his undisputed titles because he didn't have an opportunity to do it when he finished off Julius Ndongo. I'm just saying. I'm just guessing. The aerosexuals went from how is Bud going to handle that aero pressure to excuses. And now Bud's scared because he don't want Arrow at 154. Now Arrow will be comfortable like that matters. Bud by KO. Man, yes, that last part, man. Bud by KO once again. I think even the bigger question. Shout out to Tyrese on deck. What's good? I think even the bigger question is, hold on. The bigger question for me and what they keep trying to propose, right? I just want to know if coming back for the rematch, is Errol Spence going to be able to force Bud Crawford to go to the dark side? We haven't really seen anybody force Bud to go to the dark side. What I mean by that, suppose he has all these hidden ancient weapons that he hasn't been able to use. That's just been polished and put on the shelf for a later date. Nobody's been able to force this man to basically crack open the cellar door, walk in there, and access these weapons that no one has seen him use. But yet, he does have in his possession. Is Errol Spence going to be able to force this man to the dark side? Like, I'm curious. Look, Errol. If there's any advice I should give you before you go in here and take this second ass whooping, y'all have to come up with a plan, bro. Either you're gonna go in there and go out on your shield, or you're gonna come up with a tactical game plan that you feel comfortable with, and you're willing to basically embed yourself into training camp to go to those areas that you didn't go to the first fight, and just really dig down, man. And you know, get some second eyes, second, third, fourth, fifth set of eyes on there. And you can go in here and try to force Bud into the dark side, bro. Look, as fans, we're trying to see who can force him into the dark side because I'm very curious based off what I seen on the ninth round, July 29th. He was standing at the door, god damn it. Like he was swinging. He was saying, "Okay, now it's your time to prove to me that you that man. I'm fighting you right now. Fight back. I'm fighting you. Fight back. I'm fighting you. Fight back." And Harvey Doc said, "No, no, he don't want to fight today. Save it to a later date there, Crawford. Nope, nope, nope. No, 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 Arrow. Stop it. Stop it. You couldn't continue. Stop it. I want to see if Arrow can go in there for the rematch and force this man to bring out some type of skills because they say he got the weaponry. Bring out the motherfucking force him to goddamn open the cellar door. Goddamn it. Force him to put in the combination. Goddamn it. I want to see him put in the combination, man. I want somebody to put in the combination in between rounds and say, okay, we're going to plan B. Goddamn it. Yep. I got all of them. All right, cool. They waiting. I want to see Crawford go out there and use them tools that's on the shelf right now. I want to see him use it on the perfect opponent. I want to see Errol Spence try to force him into that shade of darkness where he has to use those other weapons. You know what I'm saying? Because another content creator has been on record as saying that Bud doesn't have to be 100% to. No, hold up. Bud needs to be 100% if he's to beat Errol Spence. For Errol Spence to beat Bud, he doesn't need to be 100%, but Bud needs to be 100% to beat Errol. But Errol doesn't need to be 100%. I can't make this shit up, dog. I can't make that shit up, dog. You know what I'm saying? The best fight the best. He said that garbage. He said Terrence needs to be 100% to beat Errol, but Errol doesn't need to be 100% to beat Terrence. That's the dumbest shit, boy. Christopher, what's good? He simply said it was hard for him to make weight also, but he's a professional, so he did it. He did it. That's what it's all about, crossing the finish line, right? So, both fighters was able to cross the finish line into the ring, but only one stood atop the podium to receive the hardware, receive all the championships, and that was Terrence Crawford. Thomas, what's good? I see you in the building. Shoot, Errol can work with Roy, Floyd, Diddy, real Diddy for the same dance moves. It won't help. Hey, man, I really don't care who he worked with. Like I said, he should go over there to Joanne Guzman where Mel Charlo's at. Just for the training aspect of getting ready, strength and conditioning. Like I do see Mel Charlo over there working his ass off, strength and conditioning and getting in shape. He looked in tremendous shape. Errol need to go back to when he walked with his head up, yo. You remember when I was telling you, like when he was having that fight in his backyard, he was walking with his head up, shoulders back, chest out, and nigga was walking down like he was marching. He was cool. He had that Texas T in him, and he was ripped to shreds, bro. But the only thing we see leading up to this Terrence Crawford fight, this nigga was looking at the ground. Every picture, this mug was looking at the ground, yo. And that's where he spent most of his time in the fight. This man was looking at the canvas, bro. Every time a picture came out when he was training, looking at the ground, looking at the canvas. So much to the fact I had to goddamn make a thumbnail for the Canvas University recipients. I did, bro. I had to make a freaking. You had Anthony Joshua in there. You had Ryan Garcia. You had Diddy James, and you had up next Errol Spence. Now the orientation is over. He too is a student of the Canvas University. Unfortunate. Thanksgiving is right before the fight in December. Damn, EJ got choices to make. Tyrese, you on to something because I'm looking at like. I don't think Errol can go through a holiday season without freaking eating up. You know what I'm saying? If a place, if a goddamn dish of homemade turkey dressing come across him with that giblet gravy. You know what I'm saying? That honey baked ham, that deep fried turkey. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Homemade collard greens, mac and cheese. Mm, mm, mm. Them white beans. That's chitterlings. Yeah, Errol be probably eating them chitterlings on that farm. I know he got some pigs in there. You know what I'm saying? Try to get them homemade chitterlings. You know what I'm saying? We call them chitlins down here. You know what I'm saying? But just the whole point of drinking on that sweet tea. I don't think Errol can do well during the holidays when he's heading into a fight. I don't think he's disciplined, bro. Shout out to Toby Bartlett. Salute WCS in the chat. We're global, baby. We're global. The hottest chat with the hottest grease and plenty more fish to fry. You know we own it, man. The stove is always on. The stove is always on. We're just trying to get through and decipher as to why they believe that Bud should conform to their request. They didn't have no request for Bud. They didn't have no confidence that he could go in there and beat this man. They was talking so much ill will shit. How do you expect the man to respond? How do you expect the man to respond being that he showed you he was the best? But what you do after that, you say, well, that wasn't a real Spence. He was weight drained. He has residual neurological damage. Oh my God. How dare you? These motherfuckers don't get it, bro. If Errol knew he couldn't make the weight, why didn't he take the fight why did he take the first fight in the first place? M-O knee. Monique. He did it for the B-A-G. Back. Why wouldn't he take the fight? If he's going to get paid that much money. Come on now. He took it because he wanted that bag. I mean, 20 plus million? Shit. 20 plus million? That's a big reason to take that shit. Bruce say if Spence wants to be a super welterweight, then he should invade that division, win a title, regain his confidence, and then rematch Bud. Right now is the wrong time, and who besides Arrow fans buy it? That's true. I think that's been the conversation, Bruce, for a while now. It's been a conversation for a while now, bro. Like hearing him last year get on social media and talk about how he's been at the division so long and it might be time for him to move up to 154 and all that. Why didn't you do it before the fight? You had free reign to vacate the titles and prevent Crawford from becoming undisputed, two-time undisputed. You could have just vacated the titles and moved up to 54 and established yourself already to play catch up. Now, of course, Jamel Charlo is sitting up there with all the belts, but they would have found a way to basically massage or inject freaking Spence into the 154-pound division, just like they did now. You know, Spence is sitting up there in the WBC rankings. They could have found a way to put him up there. He knew for quite some time that he was ballooning up in weight into the 180s. He knew that. But still, he held on to those belts because he made the declaration that he wanted to be undisputed. So what is the big talk about? I mean, what are these cats talking about, man? Hold on for a second, y'all. He should put the 154 weight class for the rematch in the original contract if he knew he couldn't make the weight. Facts. I like that. He should have. He should have. But what if Terrence didn't feel like he was moving up to 154? We're talking about two fighters had to agree to that. You know what I'm saying? Somehow, some way, the A side wasn't the one that was making all the check marks. That is a solid point. Why he didn't put in initial contract that whoever wins, regardless, the next fight is going to be at 154. So basically, you get one shot, one kill at the undisputed titles, and then we're moving up to 154. You're right. It should have been in the contract. A lot of things was in the contract to benefit Crawford, but he wasn't the only one doing the negotiation. It was two people. It was Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Why didn't Errol Spence have more say-so and leeway? Didn't they say he bucked the system and he went against what his chain of command said? Isn't that what's been put out there to the media? Isn't that what you've been hearing the snotty boys cry about? Oh, he went against the better wishes. Man, no, he a grown ass man. He loved getting out of pocket. So you trying to tell me all of a sudden he just didn't have no leg to stand on? No, he was the unified champion. He was the one he's the fighter that signed with PBC, and he was the A side, bro. He was the A side. What happened? Spence fans really admitted to crying that night. I know, right? Oh man, Blunt's trying to pull off scar. I mean, trying to pull the scab back on their ass, man. He's trying to pull the scab back. How can you do that? Listen, how can you shed tears for a fighter that you wasn't even speaking on majority of the time to build up this fight? You was busy speaking about his opposition, and you started to cry. Why? Because it was a reason why you wanted to be a part of Team Crawford. It was. You wasn't up there talking about anything else except what you wanted to talk about, the negativity. It's fucked up. He lost the fight, and all of a sudden, it wasn't a real test. Since he was in the weight class, he had 3 belts. Man, y'all spitting fire in the chat, man. He lost the fight, and all of a sudden, it wasn't a real test. Since he was in the weight class, he had 3 belts. They say this man was in the weight class too long. All of a sudden, it's just like kids learning that the first 3 letters of the alphabet was Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. When they heard the word punch resistance, it's almost like them. So you're trying to say, class, what's the first one? A. What's the second one? C. No, let's start over. I mean, come on, man. They're talking about punch resistance, punch resistance, punch resistance. That's just like talking about pugilistica. It's fighters who have lost more fights and don't have pugilistica, a slurred speech, than fighters who's lost less fights, who has pugilistica and slurred speech. You can't sit up here and punch resistances across the board. You know, it's people that drop down in weight and they look sucked in. Look at Devin Haney. Devin Haney was sucked all the way in, bro, to make 135. And he still went out there and beat Kambosos convincingly, dominated him. What was happening with Devin Haney's punch resistance? Since y'all say when he fought Jorge Linares, he was chinny. You know, one thing about Devin Haney, though, he ain't been on the canvas, goddammit. You feel me? I ain't seen him on the canvas. But time it comes to Gamboa, they talk about the one moment 10 years ago that Gamboa hit Crawford. But what about Devin Haney sucking down and freaking being considered chinny? He ain't been on the canvas, dog. I'm just saying. They always talking about these fighters chinny. How can you be chinny and survive punch resistance? How? How can Crawford be considered chinny from Gamboa and Igis Kavalauskas and then have a process and dropping the weight to 47, which was tough for him too, and he go in there and he's not even hurt like that. Like, why wasn't it at least one knockdown for Crawford going in there with the beast himself, the brawler, the Blaxican, Errol Spence Jr.? It just something ain't adding up, bro. Errol so used to being a diva, he was developed into by James that he's still trying to make demands when he's no longer the A side. Look, I don't even. Hey, shout out to 36 in the building. I don't think from the way we was hearing things come out from Spence himself, it doesn't even seem like he was the A side, man. Like he was fighting outside the perimeter of Texas. I mean, that was the worst. Look, this has to be the worst A side negotiation that I've seen potentially in a fight of this magnitude. Seriously, it seems like Errol Spence, with all the talk that was going on with his people, it seems like what benefited him though? What benefited him to make this fight? The only thing benefited him was that he included Adrian Clark into the situation to basically negotiate and find out he was missing out on millions of dollars. They're not talking about that. They're not talking about how he had to revamp his team to go into these negotiations and how Showtime ended up, taking care of the deal. They're not talking about that. If he was all comfortable with the Grand Pooba himself, like last year, he would have stuck to the same route. But he found out he was missing out on millions, bro. He was missing out on millions, but that was the weirdest A-side negotiation ever because all I heard was give, give, give. So now his people are going to sit up here and say, but Terrence, he gave. Why you give back? That's not the way it works. He didn't. What did he give Terrence? Look, he needed Crawford to seal up the undisputed title declaration that he had told everybody, hey, Crawford, I'm coming for that effing belt. That's what he did. That's what he told the people. I'm coming for the effing belt. I'm coming for the effing belt. So you coming for the effing belt. When you get there, you have to take it. He didn't take it, bro. He did not take it. He did not take it. For real. He didn't. We know he didn't take it. Outlaw Pugils on deck. What's good? Salute to you, brother. He didn't take it, man. Nick Rich on deck. Belts was on the line for the first fight. So Belts on the line for the second. Then, doesn't that seem logical? Doesn't that seem logical? Why wouldn't the belts be on the line for the second and 147 be more reasonable than people saying he should go at the 154? That means they don't give a fuck about this dude. They don't even give a damn about the prestige on him getting out of pocket to go back down to 47 when he said it was tough. Go back down to 47. Be more disciplined this time. Get back down to 47 and go try to win your belts back. That is a method to me that would bring him much more gratitude if he was to just challenge Crawford at the weight for the belts. The belts at 47. Nobody wants to see a fight at 54 for no titles on the line. You're not going to get the same type of support that you got for July 29th there, Spence. People want to see you attempt to go in there and not only try to regain your titles, but they want to see if you have switched out slots or switched out freaking beds with the clone. You have people out here believing that you look so bad that wasn't even you. So pretty much you have the opportunity to prove to the people that was a bad night and just go back in there and just get it in, man. If you got to go out on your shield, go out on your shield. You know what I'm saying? And go in there and prove to the people that you're going to make good on Crawford on coming for that fucking belt. Yes, make good on it. Return back to the 147-pound division. That is my thought process. You should return back to the welterweight. and try to regain your titles. Don't run away because, oh man, punch resistance, punch resistance. I didn't hear Errol Spence say nothing about that, but I've heard his fans whine about it. When aging out someone goes wrong. Hey man, they didn't look at the process of what goes in your body is what you get out your body. I mean, so many people said that, include myself. And when you out here putting, liquor, not decor, liquor. When you putting liquor in your system, the decor isn't really good. You know what I'm saying? Even from the outside looking in, if you putting liquor in there, the decor is not going to look the way it's supposed to. You're not going to be able to perform. But I thought, looking at the film study and everything, I thought, I know for a fact that was the real Spence. You know what I'm saying? That was the real Spence. It's just the people in a state right now where they're in denial and they just don't want to accept the beating they witness at the T-Mobile massacre. So why not return back? Just lock in, say, hey, get with Diddy James, whoever else, and say, hey, we got to do this, bro. Frank, you got Shakur Stevenson out here cussing you out, talking about you a bitch, this, that, and the other. You got Jamel Charlo about to go in there and take an L. We got to work together as a team, goddamn it. We're looking crazy. We don't look like a unit right now. We don't. We got to get some redemption, fellas. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But we got to get some redemption. And somebody should tell Errol, I think you should lock back in. We're going to lock back in even deeper this time and start getting that weight off right now. And so we can get this fight announced. So you can go up there and try to get those fucking belts. Because that's what he said. He said, Crawford, I'm coming for that fucking belt. Okay, you need to do that. You need to do it. Crawford told us 4 or 5 years ago, they was going to say that weight shit, so it's no excuse. Yeah, true words there, Bunch. True words. He said, oh, they say when I beat him, and he knew, dog. I'm telling you, man, his premonition was spot on, bro. Boxing Fan Talk on deck. What's good with it, bro? You know what I'm saying? But people, that's my time, man. I got to bounce. Got things to take care of. It's going about an hour and a half. But salute to y'all, man, and understand that, you know what? Those of you that's running that ranking system over there, leave that shit alone. Bud Crawford wants to fight at 147. I think it's perfect. I think we should get a second rematch for the belts. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much, basically, what I see from the snotty boys is the fact that they want to run away from the titles when they was the same one that said they didn't want to see Errol Spence fight Keith Thurman at 54 for nothing. So what y'all need to understand is that now you're basically doing something that you're accusing Crawford of. You want Errol Spence to duck Terrence Crawford at 147 pounds because you all believe, without any evidence, that he don't have punch resistance and it's not healthy for him. So y'all want Errol Spence to duck Crawford at 147, where he basically was a unified champion not too long ago. Wouldn't you want him to go back and try to get his titles back? Y'all want him to duck Crawford and go up to 154 and just recklessly do this shit. Y'all don't know for sure on what's going to take place up there. You just want him to go over there because it sounds good and say, hey, man, he go up to 154, it's going to change everything. It's not going to change the skills that you didn't see in the ring. What you didn't see Errol Spence do in the ring is not going to change the fact that Crawford was that much better. Unless Diddy James can come up with a remedy. You know what I'm saying? Unless he can come up with something. Look at film, study it, and come up with one of the most infamous game plans ever. And Errol Spence returned back to 147 pounds, and he looking good. Then the respect level will continue to rise again for Derrick James as the trainer, because right now, all I remember is Bomac and what he said. What did Bomac say? No more hiding. And goddamn it, when they motherfucking lifted up that rock, They picked that bitch up and dumped it on his head, dog. Bomac said, no more hiding, bro. He was hiding up under that rock. They said, no more. Man, y'all hold that shit down. Appreciate you. And big shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game, A-Side Official, man. We'll do it again. Peace.
Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best, you gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports.